Hi, I'm Regine. I'm an A-level politics teacher at Capital City College, where I'm branch secretary, and I've been an active committee member since 2010. I'm also on NEC, and I'm a national pay negotiator as well. Solidarity to all members currently on strike, balloting or in dispute, whether it's for better pay, against redundancies and restructures, casualisation or attacks on your pensions. In post-16 education, we clearly have a mammoth fight on our hands. We need a union that doesn't just respond to what's being imposed on us, but takes the lead. That pushes back and offers a clear alternative. We are educationalists. We believe in the transformational power and necessity of education, but the attacks we face are putting this education at threat. On my VP website, reginepilling.com, you'll see my branch fully supports my candidacy. These are the people who see me day in, day out. They know I'm empathetic, listen to members, and work tirelessly for them. Together, we've built a branch that has high density, that's made consistent gains on pay, workload, casualisation, and equality. That's because we're active. We lobby, we campaign, we strike, we organise collectively to win. Recently, my branch was on strike as part of the National New Deal for FE campaign. At last year's FE sector conference, there was a consensus that to end the huge inequalities in pay and conditions across FE, to close the gap with school teachers and increase funding into our sector, we needed national binding bargaining. We can all see FE is in crisis. Therefore, we can't just keep on doing this branch by branch. And yes, each college is different, and we must support each branch in fighting against their own management when they put in unreasonable policies and so forth. But it's not an either or. Where there are national issues like funding, we need national solutions. So if you do elect me as VP, I will ensure democratic decisions are enacted, branches are supported, and we unite on issues that impact us all. And we can see similar issues playing out in HE as well, can't we? So many universities are in dispute. They need solidarity, they need support from the National Union, and they need a clear strategy to fight back. Otherwise, all of our reps will be burnt out and members won't have trust that we can help turn things around. Sitting here recording myself, I can say all these different things, but you have to judge the candidates by their actions. Hopefully my answers today, and from my website, you'll see I'm a rank and file member. I organise, I participate, and I deliver. If elected, I'd want to be out visiting branches, connecting reps up regionally and nationally. We need a stronger rank and file and a leadership that is not attached and is held to account. This hutting has 5 pre-selected questions. On my website, I've tried to explain more about what I think and what I've done. So just to pick out a few other kind of key points. On equality, this can't be an added extra. It has to be absolutely central to what we're doing. In our branch, we continually work and support members from marginalised groups to take on roles and activity. At our college, we've organised themed learning weeks, celebrating immigration to push back racist narratives, push for a full EDI review, and challenge management to publicly support trans rights. On Palestine, our branch has participated in all 12 workplace days of action. We've provided a space for members to come together in their sadness and in their anger. It's built solidarity and pushed back against management's attempt to discipline members for their political views. And on funding, we're facing a government that is choosing to prioritise war over welfare, and that has to change. I was proud to move a motion at Congress last year, calling on UCU to take a position to TUC Congress to challenge its support for increased defence spending. I'm even prouder that UCU succeeded in doing so, helping to secure a clear TUC policy commitment to welfare, not warfare. As VP, I will continue to show through not just words but my actions that I will fight for all members in order to protect the whole of post-16 education, whether you're in pre or post-92, FE, adult ed or in prisons. Question 1. What political party or parties, if any, are you a member of? I'm in the SWP, which is of no surprise to anyone who knows me. Recently, my management tried to out me as a socialist to undercut our strike. They put it out in a kind of all-staff branch email. But my branch knows my political views, and so that attempt totally undermined, totally failed. Members saw it for what it was. It was to sow division. And in my branch, just as elsewhere, we're a broad collective of people. Our college is actually in Starmer's constituency. So back in 2024, we had some members canvass for Labour in order to get the Tories out, and whilst others were trying to unseat Starmer, and so canvass for Andrew Feinstein, who was running on a pro-Palestine ticket. But when we're in our branch, we're together, we stand united, and that is the only way to win. And that's the same across most trade unions, as well as in social movements. There are different beliefs, whether you're in the SWP, Greens, Labour, Lib Dem, Communist, whatever, or no party at all. We are trying to work together for a greater good. We all want a union that stands up for us, our communities, and for education. Right now, HE is under an unprecedented attack. Institution after institution are announcing redundancies and restructures, from London Met to Sheffield to Essex and so many more. Access to TPS and Post-92 is under attack. In FE, there is a teacher recruitment and retention crisis. Adult education has been cut by 40% and prison education is being slashed by 20% to cut core education hours. Starmer's government has been atrocious on many fronts, but there have been some improvements on employment rights and a bit on funding for 16 to 19. There is the possibility of pushing Labour to do better, but we need to mobilise and pressure Labour to move in that direction instead of what they're doing of continually aping Reform UK. Therefore, whether you're in a party or not, I think we all agree that we need a stronger union to fight and defend education. It changes lives and our communities, and that's what I'm campaigning for. Question number 2. What learning that specifically addresses the FE sector could be gained from the recent LRD survey results? Well, I have read the document, 74 pages long, and it's really interesting, and it's got some, useful points in it. But only 5% of FE members responded. That's not that surprising, nor are the responses from FE members. For a long time, UCU and FE has operated primarily on a localised branch level, rather than consistent, visible national campaigning. Following incorporation, colleges were turned into separate entities. That was a deliberate strategy to fragment the sector and embed marketisation. For 30 years, managements have told us we shouldn't compare pay and conditions between colleges because funding arrangements differ. And over time, this logic seems to have been absorbed. There's a tendency within UCU FE to focus on what divides us rather than the sector as a whole. And a consequence of this is that members feel disconnected from the national structures. They only see their branch really fighting for them. National structures just become something over there and not really connected. But we can and we've got to change that. Fighting branch by branch will only get us so far. It does get us some wins, but it's not going to get us things like national binding bargaining or more funding into the sector, which we desperately need. The report shows members find their branches supportive, but heavy workloads prevent participation. Workload is therefore not just an industrial issue, but a democratic one. We hold hybrid meetings in my branch, and it really does help with access, but it doesn't totally solve the problem. It can sometimes lead to a more kind of top-down information-giving meeting, whilst people are trying to do their marking, whilst listening. It doesn't lead to that kind of more creative, deliberative discussion, which the report confirms members value over surveys. People don't want to feel isolated. They're in a union to feel connected, to feel solidarity with other people. But what is encouraging in the report is that 75% of respondents want to be more involved. So that shows that the problem isn't apathy, but it's about people's capacity. The report highlights members' frustration at their lack of influence over national decision-making, and I totally get that. Motions passed at FESC often seem diluted or delayed in implementation. In the recent campaign, motions called for nationally coordinated action to begin in the autumn term, when they would have had the most impact. Instead, action was delayed until January. This weakened momentum, and some branches were pressured into local deals. The dispute did increase our level of organisation in FE. This should be celebrated. There were some great wins as well, but we also need to reflect critically on what happened. We need to improve our communication. Members should know what the different positions were per FEC, and there should be greater structural support to ensure regular reporting back to our geographical constituencies. Ultimately, the key question for democracy is who holds the power in the union. Surveys have a use, for sure, but not to replace collective decision-making. Those who make the surveys end up being the ones who define what answers are okay and what questions can be asked. What happens when you get a survey which has 4 options and it's fairly split? Well, we don't know why anyone voted that way because no one's talked about anything. So then you need a meeting to go forward. So we need to make sure that we focus on our branch structures. We need to focus on rebuilding democracy at branch level, regional and national level. And that requires active national campaigning on pay and workload. We need real national coordination in disputes, regular reporting back, and more collective deliberative spaces rooted in the rank and file. Question 3, how would you increase UCU density in your sector? Membership density is a challenge, isn't it? It's a challenge across all trade unions and across all of our UCU sectors. And so while density has declined over recent decades in some places for some unions, others have bucked the trend. And so the lesson is pretty clear from looking at them that what they want, what members want, what people want is a union that is visible, active and rooted in their everyday experiences. So density can't be built from the top down. It's created through rank and file organising, through conversations between colleagues, workplace activity and collective action that feels relevant and owned by members. The National Union needs to support that. Our branch has high density because we are visible. We listen to members, we take action on the issues that are raised. We campaign, we negotiate, we lobby, and if all else fails, we take industrial action. That's how we've gained the wins that we've got, and that's how we have good density. If we weren't effective at what we were doing, staff wouldn't join and staff wouldn't re-elect us. So in FE, we need a more high-profile campaign that connects the members of different branches. We need a more high-profile adult education campaign. The recent Adult Ed Lobby of Parliament, organised by reps, had 400 people at it. That demonstrates what is possible, and this campaign can be so much more. We need national coordination, resourcing, and more lobbying of Parliament and the devolved assemblies. We need a more, we need a more confident and positive messaging about FE. We're not second class to HE or school teachers or to any other sector. And that's the same for adult education and for prisons as well. We are all educationalists. We are all passionate about our work and its transformative impact on students and communities. Our campaign should articulate that pride and connect it to our collective demands such as national binding bargaining. Members want to shape policy, but they also want to trust our leaders to implement a clear strategy and provide that practical support. They want confidence that the National Union will back them. And we need a version of the activist list back. We need to develop strong national networks that allow reps to share experiences, learn from each other and act collectively. Density and action go hand in hand. We cannot delay organising until density improves. Organising is how density improves. Our branch experience shows that maintaining high density requires constant effort. We create forums for members to meet, encourage collective discussion and engage people through a range of campaigns. When members feel ownership and they see the wins, they recruit others, and that's how density grows. Question 4, and I'm running out of time. How should the union tackle the increasing workload pressures? I mean, we can talk about workload for hours and hours. It's the issue that faces us day in, day out. It's crushing. My branch is still in dispute as part of the New Deal for FE, as the campaign was over pay and workload and national binding bargaining. We ended the dispute over pay, but we're still in dispute over workload and national binding bargaining, which gives us leverage in our continued talks. And we do seem to have a bit of a tendency in UCU of advertising the pay awards that branches win, but not really talking about the workload wins. And we need to publicise those wins. It's helpful for branches. And if where we're not making gains on workload, why are we not making gains on those workloads? Where can we be helping supporting them? And so in the recent dispute, we had a branch delegate meeting for all those who settled, for all those who are in still dispute, but not for those ones that are settled. And I think that's a bit of a missed opportunity, really. On workload, we need to collectivise the problem. It's not a personal issue, it's a systemic one. Yet our care for our students is often exploited. We're pushed to do too much. The number of teachers has gone down, yet the number of students in our classes regularly goes up. And this is only set to get worse as well. The government says that between 8,500 to 12,000 more teachers are needed by 28-29. FE is underfunded and under-resourced. The government know this, the AIC know this, so we need to campaign harder to get them to change their minds. Fundamentally, we need more money coming into the sector to hire staff and pay them decent wages. What we can be doing is collecting data on the ground. That's what we've done at our place, health and safety surveys, stress risk surveys, to push back. We have wellbeing and workload policies, such as not repeating data entries, no emails after 5 p.m, classes can't be more than 22. We have a workload committee. So these are all good things, but we need to do better as well. Question 5. What would you do to engage more members and current non-members with UCU's anti-casualisation campaigns? Well, the anti-casualisation campaign was actually the first national UCU committee I joined back in 2011. And I remember other full-timers, permanent staff, who were also union members saying hourly paid was just a rite of passage. It infuriated me then and it infuriates me now. Anti-casualisation has to be an essential to all parts of our industrial campaigns. Too often, casualised staff feel left out and forgotten. The experience of not knowing when your job is going to end, when your next job will be, it is unacceptable. We have to make it clear if we do not fight for our casualised members, then management will make us all insecure. 19.5% of UCU members are casualised members. They need more support. They need more visible support. With the current attacks on HE, There are so many who are losing their jobs through the hidden redundancies. And casualisation is clearly an equality issue. It intersects with many casual contracts are people who are women, people of colour and disabled. So challenging discrimination at work is fundamental. It's also incumbent on permanent members to take action in support of casualised members. Thank you so much for listening to me, and please look at my website for more information.